Growing up with a super charismatic father, obsessed with being liked by everybody, including the people he didn't like me, I realized something that I see in networking events. Kind of the idea that network is your net worth. What he had right was that in presenting himself as a good person, if he did it well enough, it wouldn't really matter that he was genuinely bad. He just had to look genuinely good. In the business world, and by business world, I mean every industry, and it's something that it took me a long time to realize. But people make money by making you believe they make money. They act rich until you make them so. In a world full of gurus and events dedicated to people telling you they are successful, this is how they did it, and maybe you can get their business card. It took me a genuine while not to believe this lie, even though I was raised by the very man that purported it. Nobody is going to help you achieve anything at the end of the day, and their advice is either one time wisdom or about as useful as a used condom on the floor. The truth is, you're on your own. And for people like me, survivors, this is what freezes us. For Yali, there's not one self help book, YouTube channel dedicated to self love, or therapist, yoga teacher in the tri state area she has not encountered in search of being more consistently happy. For the last 2 years of her marriage, she was visiting a tarot reader once a week, but I understood that she was not looking for a psychic as much as hope. Growing up, we were the ones that excelled and made sure everyone was all right, which meant no one ever asked if we needed the same. The fact that we excelled in what everybody else wanted us to excel in meant that we were doing just fine, at least to them. Thus, from tarot readers to influencers, she became obsessed with hearing kind words as she resigned from her desire or her belief in kind actions. Yet I did not judge her, because I too wanted to know the experience of being a happy person with moments of sad instead of the sad person I am with moments of happiness. Our economy is run by a fake it till you make it strategy, which is why modern day celebrities have expanded to include people that have no intelligence or talent, but like to be seen in a world that has grown accustomed to its invisibility. In essence, there's something really refreshing about someone who, even if not authentically themselves, is sure loud about it than Kim Kardashian. For quiet sufferers like Yali and I, we admire people that admire themselves for no reason and despite having no value. But our burnout was coming. Like internships, you can only go to so many networking events, hear so many how to speeches before you realize they're not doing as much as you think they are. While Yali came into these networking events with a notebook in hand and her heart in her ass, I was starting to get bitter and feel used. I was shaking hands, giving out business cards like Skittles, and smiling like the Kool-Aid man, yet I felt like a number, not a memory, and would find the same faces and speakers and listeners, but every job was filled by somebody who knew them. To be frank, no one knows me. If I wanted to be a plumber or social worker, I'd probably get a hookup. Like most Latinos, we end up getting service jobs easily, which is why most of us, at least once, became a teacher. Yet I wanted to be fulfilled by my career because so much of our life is spent working, and I really needed to feel happy. Yet I do not know powerful people, and my access to them was my con man dad. Watching him scam people into loving or paying him, he taught me people were multiple ends to an individual mean, and appearing like a god of resolution rather than their very problem is how you assure your own personal success. Yet as his daughter, I have no value beyond making him feel loved when he was unlovable in behavior, which is why networking is so hard for me. I learned its trick before I entered the game. It's those in need of help that end up being the most helpful. Yali and me, at a time, were the backbone of some self-helpers' lives, and we did it because we were tired of surviving life, and they really do look like they're living it up. Oh my God, this episode is so um, impactful for me. My father was a con man. And what I was trying to say at one point was he used me to feel good about his bad behavior. in the sense of I had to coddle and comfort him and build him, and was always telling him he was a good person, but while he was calling me evil. A typical abuser. And it's something that I notice in terms of networking. I think, especially in America, there's just this, and it's not only in America, but I think the capitalistic nature fuels this energy of like, I need to meet so many people and I need to make myself known in order to get more money and more fame. And I'm shaking hands with everybody, but am I really making genuine connections? And the problem is powerful people want genuine connections because they're already where you want to be. And what I found, it's so funny. So right before the writer's strike, I was kind of again looking for tutors and teachers and gurus, particularly to enter TV writing because that is one of my dreams. And I'm meeting this guy who's getting paid to give people advice on how to enter the writer's room. And then I see him 2 months talking about how he doesn't get paid and how writers don't get paid enough. And he was promising that he's going to help people get into a place he barely can stay in. And that always impacted me. And Yali is, I love her. But towards the end of her marriage, she was like reading 5 self-help books at once, going to every tarot reader on earth. And I really do think she did it for the same reason that most people do, which is it's kind of like free therapy that eventually costs a lot. She really just wanted to talk to somebody and talk to somebody different than from within her circle, because it's something that I've mentioned in prior episodes, and it's going to come up in a future episode. Me and Yali have a lot in common, and we were always the responsible ones, the ones that got everything right, did everything right, the good girls, the excelling girls, and nobody really asked us if we were okay, and if we mentioned it, it was like, well, figure it out, you know. And it really does catch up to you. And the thing about love is, especially if you are the good girl that excels, particularly in a BIPOC community, there is this overwhelming opinionatedness. I think we both became really protective over our love lives. Not that it made us choose better, but our fear of, we were so commented on, and in terms of what we could do better, what our family thought we were doing wrong, even though we were pushed and praised for excelling, that when it came to the intimacy of finding somebody that genuinely loved us, even though we have our own issues in terms of picking, obviously I have my daddy issues, we we were almost too secretive, too protective, too private about who we were dating, because it's almost like our craving for something so intimate and so romantic made us shut down anybody who loved us in terms of giving a comment, because we only knew love according to criticism. We only knew love according to like warning. Like I put it in a prior episode, like, I know my mother loves me because she warns me about everything that could go wrong. Like, it's never positive, it's never you're doing great, it's always you could do better, or something could go wrong, remember that. And when you're trying to find a relationship and that's your family dynamic, it can feel really overwhelming and blurry. But the problem is you're already blurry. Like, it's there. You were raised in that. And I think she approaches networking with that same idea of like, somebody save me. Because, but while also like, I can't tell my family that I need saving, because they raised me to have this mentality that somehow, even when I'm doing great, I'm at risk. And you go to all these self-help gurus and these conventions and these networking events, meeting people that claim they're doing better or claim they're hurting like you, and either way you can't build a genuine connection, because if someone is hurting like you, it means they might even get competitive about healing, or means they might not even define healing like you. Like, And it's just something that I was really, really on my mind because I'm suffering from burnout. And my burnout is in part of because of these games of just consistently investing in networking events and teachers and tutors and life coaches that are supposed to help me get up and get through, but they're really just looking for a dime. They genuinely are. And I saw it recently in TikTok about like how many TikTokers rent mansions and do courses and conventions and in these rented mansions, but act like they own it. And it's the same energy. And it's one that my dad did too, of just, he was so hyper aware. He wasn't who he was presenting. You know, he would say he was richer than what he was, way more traveled. And eventually he became it. So talk about manifestation. But he presented himself as a king and would rather throw himself off the bridge than you realize he was actually a peasant. And that energy helped him rebuild his economy. That energy helped him abuse me. That energy helped him get away with it either way, get away with it all. And it's an energy that I want to kind of have without being so malicious, of just presenting myself as who I want to be and not even being fake. If I present myself as who I want to be, it's because it's who I want to be and it's within me. I just have to get comfortable in it. I just have to get confident in that version of me that's already there, but I'm just tapping into until I become it. And I think that was the brilliance of my father, and what's the brilliance of so many scam artists, which some of these gurus are. And it's this understanding of I can present myself as wisdom. And if I'm good enough, I can market myself as wisdom, even if I'm an idiot. It's the biggest complaint about the Kardashians. They don't have the talent, they don't have the generosity, but they know how to present themselves as either. And we live in a world that will really, they will question more a genuine person than a con artist because charm goes a long way and people are in need. So yeah, so that's networking Networth. Check out daddyrecovery.com and subscribe, follow, and business class comes out May 24th. Thank you so much.